that has come up this morning. And once he's done with that, then you folks will know the order of the day. I'll leave it in Naivi Waterman's hands as to the process of how today's budget meeting is going to take place. And then we will recess after this, and then we'll basically reconvene next Monday. But I will have our Naivi explain all that to you. So once we'll be starting about 30 seconds. I think we have more people coming in. And so hang in there. Yeah, I was waiting for Hai Lama. Yeah. Hai Lama here. Oh, Hai Lama. At this time, I'd like to call upon Hai Lama Fardin to give us a pule before we begin today's meeting.
Aloha kakahiaka, e nā kahu vai, luna ho'omalu, e ho'omalu kākou, aloha e ke anaina, aloha. E ke ali I kamakola niki ke loa ko ke ao holo koa. E ia hoi mākou kaupo e ohane I aku ko mei nei I mō koalo, ke ia kakahiaka nei. Ke ho nani o maika I mili rani ka nei mākou ia o e ke kua. A oi ai e kūnau haa nei ko mākou po. Ke ho nani aka nei a ke kalakala nei I kou hopo maika I maluna mākou pakai he pau. E haawika I ke kana awau. Pakahi nā kahuai wai, ka po e nāne ho kolokolo nei ka mākou papahana. Ke ia la kui kawa ke I hala vai nui, no ka mākou puukala, ko o lilo ana ke ia po e vai, I kera me ke ia mau polokalamu. Ke kua, haawika I ke kana awau, e ho o kopono I nā kuleana a mākou e au amu nei. No leila ke kōkōkua mai I ke ia halawai nei, e ho'oholo me ka ho'oholo oe, nāu e ho'oholo me ka maikai, a pau ka mākou halawai, e hoi ia mākou ko mākou ahi kūpono. Makai no kau keiki hiwa Iesu Kristo ka ule o pule. Amen.
Mahalo nui. Welcome to the Budget and Finance Committee meeting for today, June 23rd. It is now 9:14 a.m. I would like to introduce my committee staff. Please, I'd like to introduce Trustee Aide Pohai Ryan, Trustee Aide right here. And on loan today from Vice Chair Waihe'e is Crane Akina, who will be helping us manage the back side of our office here. I also want to acknowledge all of the bot staff for your time and assistance as we prepared for today's budget meeting hearings, and also to help obtain things like our lunches and so forth, so we can ensure that everything runs smoothly today. Also, we'd like to ensure that our new process of our budget hearings are completed and done on behalf of myself and the Board of Trustees. A big mahalo to all of you for that. At this time, though, we'd like to begin with the roll call to establish quorum. Pohai, please, with roll call.
Trustee Ahuna.
Yo.
Trustee Akaka.
Yo.
Trustee Akina. Excused. Trustee Galuteria.
Yo.
Trustee Lindsay. Trustee Souza.
Yo.
Vice Chair Waihe'e. Trustee Kahele.
Present.
And Chair Alapa.
Present.
Quorum is established.
Mahalo, Trustee Aide Pohai Ryan. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. And just a friendly reminder for those that are going to be testifying today, especially to turn on your microphones for those that are online, and that when the microphone is on, when you're finished with your testimony, to take yourself off of our Zoom, so that we ask for you to speak loudly and clearly, so that we can do this for recording purposes. In the meantime, public testimonies today for everyone that is here and or online. Here is how the rule of order goes. Public testimony should be limited to matters listed on the meeting agenda and will occur prior to any listed items, conclusion, or vote. If you begin to address other issues not on today's meeting agenda, BF Chair will call you out of order and direct you to limit your testimony to the items listed on the agenda. Testifier mics will be unmuted when it is your turn to testify. You can do your testifying right here at the end of our table, and there will be a microphone for you to speak in. If you're not audible, we'll mute you, and the next testifier will be called upon, especially for those online. Oral testimony will be limited to 5 minutes. Your microphone will be automatically muted once you've completed your testimony, or if your allotted time expires, and we will give you a 30-second warning. In other words, to let you know you have 30 seconds to wrap up your 5-minute testimony. If you finish much earlier, no problem, you're good. At this time, Pohai, I know we have a bunch of testifiers, so I can still ask, do we have any testifiers today?
We have 10 waiting right now at this time, and there's several signed up. That's
Okay.
present in the room, and there may be more that did not sign up yet.
Okay, thank you so much. But at this time, first and foremost, I'd like to open up with a statement to all of us, everyone here and those that are online. Yes, so aloha everyone for being here, as I've been blessed. Yeah. No. Grace. I've been blessed with the opportunity to serve as your budget and finance chair. I want to express my deep appreciation for your patience, for your understanding as I navigate our agency's budget and process for the first time. While mistakes may be inevitable, I truly value your continued support. I'm beginning to fully realize the immense responsibility that comes with chairing this committee. Transparency in our budget process is essential to ensure that we uphold our fiduciary duties and responsibilities with integrity and accountability. And on that note, I'd like to turn over to our board attorney, Naivi Worderman, as he has a few announcements to make.
Thank you, Chair. Alapa. Based on my discussions with the Office of Information Practices this morning, what was recommended is that we take public testimony this morning, especially in light of everyone who's present here. And then upon completion of testimony, we're going to then recess this matter to continue to a further day. So that's the process we're going to follow this morning, and we'll start with the testimony.
Okay, so is everybody clear on that? Today's meeting will be strictly based on our testimonies first and foremost. What I'd like to do is for all those of the public that are here in person and or travel whatnot, we'd like to take care of you first so that you're not waiting all day for your turn. And our staff and everyone else that's here, we will follow with you thereafter. So at this time, I'd like to call upon our trustee aide, Pohai Ryan, for our first testifier. And, oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I forgot to introduce the head of administration, our CEO. At this time, I'd like to introduce Stacy, who is Stacy Ferreira Kapohana, and CEO of OHA.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, trustees. Joining us today in the boardroom and online, we have our Chief Operating Officer, Kehal Pu'u, our Chief Financial Officer, Ramona Hink, Endowment Director, Ryan Lee, Financial Analyst, Grace Chen, Interim Corporation Counsel, Everett Ota, Senior Director of Strategy and Implementation, Elena Farden, Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, Hailama Farden, Director of Iwi Wellbeing and Aina Momona, Kuike Kamakea Ohelo, Director of Economic and Business Resilience, Poni Askew, Director of Communications, Bill Brennan, Operations Manager, Royce Campbell, IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Daniel Santos, and Arlene Aguinaldo. Mahalo.
All right, at this time, we're going to begin with our public testimony. Pohai, could you please announce our first testifier?
To honor protocol, we will be calling the highest elected official that is waiting online to testify, and that's Hawaii Island Mayor Alameda.
Aloha Bear, are you there? Oh, can you please unmute yourself? And turn on your camera. If not, okay. If not, then move on. Yeah.
Okay, we will move on to Representative Darius Keela.
We'll come back to you, Mayor Alameda.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. You want to
Sure.
sit down?
You want me to sit or stand?
No,
How we doing?
go ahead, sit. We'll get whiplash looking up.
Good morning, Committee Chair Lapa,
Hi, good
Chair
morning.
Kahele, Vice Chair Souza, Emeritus Chair Carmen Hulu Lindsay. Mahalo trustees for allowing me to be here today. I'd like to provide testimony in support of the proposed budget as put before you folks. I do want to first of all thank you folks for allowing me to come to your hale. It's the first time in my 3 years in office I've actually been in this space, so mahalo. But I think it's a testament to what you folks are doing differently. And if you folks remember that first budget briefing where I had you folks and the member of the finance committee is always wanting to find synergy with the legislature and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. And I think now more than ever, there's this renaissance of wanting to see our Hawaiian programs. Let me take a step back. No matter the position on where we are at on nation to nation, state within a state, sovereignty, two things can exist at the same time of wanting to move all these things forward, but never neglecting our trust and duties to serving our people. So this is the fact the first time I submitted testimony on the budget to you folks for supporting the budget item for Uluwai Learning Center. But that testimony is, I think, the epitome of what you folks are trying to do differently. And something maybe we've never thought about doing is how do we support the legislative budget in tandem with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, a budget to serve the one cause that we must, it's our Hawaiian folks, our lahui, and our people. So through this process, I'm just thoroughly impressed and thank you. And I see it so fit that I would take the flight from Nanakuli to come here this morning to join you folks. I serve the communities of House District 44, which is Maili, Nanakuli, Honakaihale, Ko'olina, and every year when I see that report of the folks that you serve in House District 44, I know that for every dollar that's listed, there's probably 100 other dollars that we will never see because the Office of Hawaiian Affairs impact is so great. So, and even for the folks who are here online in person, I commend the work that you folks are doing. It is not an easy seat to be in. I know you folks work tirelessly for our lahui. So in this budget, should you folks see fit to pass, I'm supportive and I will always support the Office of Hawaiian Affairs in the way that you support our legislation. And so I stand ready to see this budget pass for you folks, our lahui. And thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Forgive me for the quick exit as I'm heading to my next meeting. Mahalo nui loa and great job.
Thank you so much for spending your precious morning with us. Appreciate your testimony. Let's see if we can go back to Mayor Alameda and see if he's available.
Makako,
Oh, there you are.
thank you so much for
We
allowing.
can't hear you. Can you turn up your mic, please? Or your volume?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Can we?
No,
check?
not yet.
Can't hear him.
Okay, try again.
Hang on just a sec. To the audio in the room.
Oh, 1 2 1 2 testing.
There it is. We got it. Right on.
Thank you
Aloha.
so much. Patience. Aloha, Trustee Alapa. And the rest of the trustees, you guys are all good looking, very awesome. Thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to share how important this project that we're looking at for our homestead in Keaukaha. We had a Keaukaha town hall this past Wednesday, and it was well attended. And the topic of conversation was, how are you going to help us with our gym? And and the gym is such bad shape. And the gym is, in a lot of our homestead communities, the recreational facility is the hub. That's where all the families come, and like that's been years. So when I was a kid, my papa was a kid, and all our most Hawaiians, I can tell you on this island, well, at least east side, all roots go back to Keaukaha. In fact, Panieva is just an extension of Keaukaha. So this gym brings all of us together. And my family moved up Waikiuka, but we still go to Keaukaha because our nieces and nephews, they all play there. So it's really a gathering place of Hawaiians, if you want to put it that way. So when the community asked for it, and I went to County Council Fresh Onishi and of course Chris Todd, and then with Kai, and he was like, hey, what we can do. So if we can match, if we can offer 3.5 mil and the state can match them, we're still going to be under. And that's why it's so important if OHA can come and also match our match. So then, now we get about 10 million for really doing real good job on that gym. That can provide pretty much everything we need and they need for continue their recreation programs from keiki to kupuna use them. I mean, they use them for all kind pickleball action now, and it's just volleyball, basketball. There's a concession that's super important because that's where they fundraise to go on trips. It's just the hub of the community. So I wanted to, be here with my managing director, Bill Brahante, and on the side you get over there Micah Alameda, who's also from that community, who works for the mayor's office as well. So we just cannot overstate how important this is. So I yield now for any questions. Mahalo again.
Mahalo, Mayor Alameda. Thank you so much. And I would like to move on. We're going to have to move on to our next testifier. Pohai, please announce our next person.
Mr. Rupert Rowe.
Yes. Oh, there he is.
Aloha to all of you.
Aloha.
I'm here representing Kaneo'olu'u Heiau. It's a very important part of ourselves, our culture. From statehood to this day, we don't have an identity as who we are. This heiau gives the energy that we have went worldwide. I did 7 airlines, stories about Kaneo'olu'u Heiau. We got 9 colleges, starting with Stanford University, comes to see Kaneo'olu'u Heiau, explain to them the political thing that faces the Kanaka Maoli throughout Hawaii. We had John Lake come there, did a chant. Halfway in his chant, he was shaking so bad, he stopped, he looked at me, and he asked me a question. He said, Rupert, do you know what is in here? I didn't answer him right away. I told him I understand the energy that every heiau has to give to the people of our culture throughout Hawaii. And he said to me, you will come to Pu'okala. We went to Pu'okala. That was the first time Kauai ever participated culturally. So right now I'm here in front of you, asking you folks for the support on the financial end that we need to take our journey beyond so that the Kekeoka Aina will have an identity as our people move away to the mainland. We are not a people that lives in a desert. We are a people in the ocean. We have lost that identity because we don't know who we are. The word blood quantum, how do you look at each other in this room and say, how much Hawaiian you get? That word Hawaiian is not even in our vocabulary. So we're here watching our EVs get digged out of the ground. Again, it's the identity. So when you put a heiau together, you put the identity of the Kanaka Maoli. Our language is as equal to English. Why don't we have Oha step up and say, if it's spoken in the courts and it's spoken in the legislature, why don't we have our identity placed on so we know who we are? So I don't know what else to say. I sound like a political rebel. But all you Kanakas out there, look at each other and say to yourself, how much Hawaiian you get to qualify for you to be that person? That's a very sad thing. So when I left Kauai in 1949, my tutu said two things to me. You born Kanaka and you will live Kanaka. So you go to Honolulu and learn the Western way. So I came to Honolulu in 1949. I played at the Palace from 49 to 59. I understand the political arena that takes place in Hawaii. I was a longshoreman. Then I became a fireman. I retired 27 years ago. I'm 83 years old. My journey is limited to walk the Aina. So I ask all of OHA to support what we need to do to protect the heiau. And we're the only island that is standing the keys out there. There is no island throughout Hawaii that is raising the keys, only on Kauai. So I want all you folks to understand, please know who you are, not as a Hawaiian, but as a Kanaka. Always Kanaka. They who lie in the ground is Kanaka. When you dig them out, the reason we don't have Nekra over here is because they couldn't dig up the ancient burial grounds. So we're the only state in the union on burial council appointed by the governor. How sad. Not even our own people can appoint our people.
30 seconds.
Mahalo for the reminder. So I'm going to take 24 seconds to say, all of you in this room, understand we have an identity, and Kaneoluma is the only heiau that is being restored. And I must tip my hat to the Kapuna, Henry Kekahuna. He's a very important individual that we all must know who he is. Aloha to all of you.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. At this time, let's bring out our next testifier, please.
Dr. Kalihua Krug.
Aloha ka kaiaka, e nā
Aloha.
kauwaivai hano o ka oihana ni oha. Ka poi apau me Hawaii nui ke awe an I hau ka helelani, aloha nui loa. I am speaking today as a principal. I was on the same flight as Representative Kila from Nanakuli, so I'm speaking as a representative, the principal at Kawai Hono Kana'awa Public Charter School. So this is about public school, charter school funding. One of the things that and I've had conversations, so just putting it out there publicly, one of the things that I wanted to make sure is clear is that equitable funding versus equal funding is that I think in this year's budget, each school is going to get equal funding. So it's lump sums of equal funding. Our school in Anakuli serves the highest Native Hawaiian population, and we're going to take, because of the equal funding, we're going to take over $100,000 cut. And I see that with as much appreciation and love for all the work that you folks have given us. And I'm not sitting here complaining, just pointing it out that the differences of how funds are distributed affects us differently. And so our students and even from last year's the Native Hawaiian student data that you folks have is just getting it's increasing for next year. And our immersion program just opened up this past year, so we're kind of moving into a different space, serving programmatically in a much different way, and we can use that funding. But with that said, I also understand that the other schools need funds too, and it's not always easy. As a big school, we have our challenges, but as a big school, we are not provided with the same challenges as a smaller school. So it's just pointing it out. And I think down the road, really putting time, as inflation is a concept economically within society, think about increasing education funding. And I know and it looks like it's about the same as last year's budget, so greatly appreciated. But as time moves on, I think in the federal landscape, just in our communities, education is creating something. And I think it's a part of our inability to understand fact versus fiction, social media data versus actual hard data, and education at the core of that. So decision making and societal shift, we are the only proactive way to actually change the trajectory of society and how our next generations think. And so putting time and effort into education, putting funding into education is actually putting energy into all aspects of the responses that and the reactivity that I see in the budget, the reactive spending. We are the proactive response to mitigate some of the issues that I think the funding that's in the budget that's reacting and responding to societal needs could mitigate. And I think personally in my community, I'm working on as an administrator, putting more effort and funding and energy into social development within the schools. And so if you need to label where that increase in educational funding should go, I believe it should go to social development because our ohana and our homes and our communities are not taking the responsibility of child social development as they have been in past generations. And so a lot of that is falling onto the schools to do that. And I love doing it. I have no problem doing it. I just want to make sure that it is known that social development proactively can mitigate some of the things that I believe the budget's reacting to. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.
Thank you so much. At this time, let's bring out our next testifier. Scott Shimabukuro.
Good morning, trustees.
Good morning.
I'm Scott Shimabukuro, and I'm with the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Division, which is a division within the Department of Health. And I just wanted to make a quick statement that a brief statement that the CAMD believes very much in any efforts that will help support and serve our youth and their families with great understanding. I think there's a gap there in terms of the kind of services we can provide and the support we can provide. And I think that a cultural court and restorative justice programming will really go a long way to help increase understanding and provide appropriate kinds of services. So thank you.
Okay, mahalo. Our next testifier, please.
Kau'i Sai. Aloha.
Aloha.
Kau'i Sai Dudwa. But aloha. I came here today to first thank you. We visited you a couple of weeks ago, a month
Yes.
ago, something, on invitation. And we are so happy and grateful to have been included in your budget. That you, I guess, got our message of the importance of our work. One of the things that I wasn't able to talk about it, and I'm really happy that Puake is not on a mic while I'm on a mic, is to talk about the reason for our 5-year strategic mission. We have demarcated 5-year for intensive training and production for Awaiolu. Because Puakea Nogomeyer, who is the linchpin for Awaiolu, he is the Yoda of what we do. He has spent 50 years of his life at the hip of many Manaleo who have passed, and we will never reclaim that ability or that experience that he brings to our team. He has macular degeneration. He is legally blind at this point. But we have, although his capacity has diminished from where we used to be, he was scary before. Like he was scary. Today, it's diminished, but our team is strong, and we have allowed and made the allowances for him to be able to operate at his maximum capacity. So this is like, if we had the opportunity to sit with Kamakau and say, we have 2 years, are we going to take it? And how much would we do to take that opportunity to glean that information? Our team of translators, and many of them have submitted testimony. And by the way, thank you to all the people who submitted testimony on our behalf. I just want to acknowledge that. But this 5 years that we have, maybe the last 5 years that Awayulu has to function at the level that we've established, to keep producing and put what we do out there for the community. And that is really all I came to say. Mahalo nui for your consideration.
Mahalo, Kelly. May we have our next testifier, please?
Napua Kia Nogemeyer.
Yeah. Aloha, and thank you for making time. Aloha to all of the trustees and for allowing us to be here again. I could wring her neck, but that's the way we work. It works really well. I have been blind for 10 years, and we still operate really, really well. We believe, and I want to apologize for our last visit here. I was told I'm a little intense. And I don't mean to be brusque or demanding, or there is a real compulsion to be doing what we're doing. I believe the best thing that we can do to empower Hawaiians and Hawaii is to reconnect an inheritance that has been out of reach for 100 years. And I think that it actually affects every single aspect of Hawaiians and Hawaii today. So we are a little driven we have an operation that I believe can empower a generation of doers who can carry this forward. I can carry it forward for a long time. I'm still pretty, lively. But I won't be able to the work won't be done in a single generation, and it can't be funded by OHA. And so support from OHA enables us to find support elsewhere, as it will be. It's going to be expensive to make this operate, to kick off what will be a movement that hopefully will remain in motion for generations. I just want to quote, it was 1862, Kane Pu'u, who was a legend holder, and in the newspapers, he said, we have to get this here. There was an intentional collection of knowledge. He said, we have to get it here and we have to get it right. Because those in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, and in 130 years will need to know. There was a real drive to save knowledge, knowing that Hawaiians were unique and possibly disappearing. They were diminishing. They put things down for the future. And it's just repeated over and over. For us to have the opportunity to now reach for that after a century is a chance that I would like to make happen. We can't do it just OHA and Awaiolu. But having OHA at our back and having OHA with us is a really powerful tool to gain what we will need. So I thank you for the opportunity to bring it to you and hope that we can move forward together. Mahalo anui.
Mahalo nui. Thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to bring on our next testifier, Pohai.
Dr. Keawe Kaholokula.
Aloha mai nā po'o. Mahalo. Mahalo to all of you, and aloha to everyone within the sound of my voice. Mahalo for this opportunity to testify. Of course, our Department of Native Hawaiian Health at the John A. Burns School of Medicine at the University of Hawaii provided letter of support, supporting the budget put forth, because it will help our beneficiaries who are students and patients get the care, the training they need to become healthcare professionals to serve our communities. As you know, we have a significant workforce shortage that is really affecting all of our communities, but more so our Native Hawaiian communities across all. We also are underrepresented in this workforce, and we need to change that to provide better care to our people. And for all those reasons, we support the budget. We support all of you. We mahalo all of you for supporting us and all the people who are here today and their programs. And with that said, I would like to say that all the programs that are being considered are important and we support. And I know that perhaps the budget request, I hope, did not hinder that. And if so, we are willing to compromise and come back to the table. So I do share that with all of you. And with that, mahalo nui.
Mahalo nui. Thank you so much. We'd like to move on to our next testifier, Pohai.
Venus Rossetti Maderos.
Aloha mai kākou. Mahalo for this opportunity to testify. I'm gonna stick on point because I have so much stuff to say. So I had to write it down. But I am here to testify in strong support of the Cultural Ohana Court and Pu'uhonua Malama Aina Restorative Justice Funding requests. These two bold initiatives represent long overdue and necessary shifts towards culturally rooted, healing-centered approaches that uplift Native Hawaiian families and restore systems of care and accountability. As a lifelong advocate for Keiki, Opio, and Ohana, and as co-chair of the legislatively established Malama Ohana Working Group, I stand in deep commitment to reimagining our child welfare and justice systems to not merely reform them, but to transform them. I have also been privileged to stand alongside community members, cultural practitioners, legal experts, and survivors of systemic harm who are calling for transformation. We must confront the truth that Native Hawaiian children are significantly overrepresented in Hawaii child welfare system. In 2019 to 2023, Native Hawaiian children made up 45% of those in foster care, despite representing only 34% of the child population. Also, 42 to 45% in that same years were children of Native Hawaiian descent, aged 0 to 5 years old. These numbers matter greatly. This persistent disproportionality signals structural inequities in how child welfare engages with Native Hawaiian families, impacting family stability, continuity of Ohana bonds, and cultural identity. Incorporating culturally grounded, restorative models like the proposed Cultural Ohana Court and Pu'uhonua Malama Ohaina targets the systemic disparities by providing healing center alternatives to incarceration of family separation. These disparities are not coincidental. They are the product of historical trauma, systemic bias, and a failure to recognize and honor the strengths of Hawaiian Ohana and cultural practices. We cannot allow this cycle to continue. I'm going to skip through some. I did make copies of my testimony, but I want to get to this point. Why OHA should invest in the Cultural Ohana Court. Number one, this is OHA's kuleana. The mission of OHA is to better the conditions of Native Hawaiians. There is no greater measure of well-being than the safety, unity, and healing of our Ohana. When 45% of children in foster care are Native Hawaiian, disproportionality separated from their families and culture, OHA cannot stand on the sidelines. This court is a direct investment in restoring healthy, culturally grounded Native Hawaiian families. Number two, the Cultural Ohana Court is a Native solution to a Native crisis. For decades, Native Hawaiian families have been entangled in systems that were never designed for us. Standard family courts often operate without cultural competence or aloha aina values. leaving families further traumatized and disconnected. The cultural Ohana Court reclaims our own Ike Kupuna centering relationships, Mo'oku'auhau, and Ho'oponopono as paths to restoration. This is systems change from the inside out. Number 3, it advances OHA's strategic priorities. This initiative directly supports 3 of OHA's strategic goals, including Malama Ohana, strengthening family structures and reducing family separation, Mauliola, advancing Native Hawaiian health and well-being through culture-based systems, and Ho'okahua Vaivai, laying the foundation for economic and social self-sufficiency, starting with the family unit. Fourthly, the data is clear. We need transformational change. Native Hawaiian children are not only overrepresented in foster care, but they also stay in care longer and are less likely to be reunited with their ohana. These patterns are tied to cultural disconnection, generational trauma, and systemic bias. Funding this court is not just reactive, it is preventative, interrupting intergenerational cycles of harm. And lastly, OHA support will be catalytic. Mahalo.
Thank you, Venus. Mahalo. Right, our next testifier, please.
Mehana Hind.
How's it? Aloha. Oh, yeah. When I walked in the room, I forgot I don't work here anymore. Yeah. It was like coming back home. I almost walked in the kitchen, you know. Aloha mai kako, trustees, our administration for OHA, and also the hardworking staff that I haven't seen in a while. Mahalo nui. Yeah, I'm very well aware of what it takes to get to this place, to this meeting today and to the meeting next week. The weeks and weeks of struggle and toil and trying to figure everything out. So on behalf of the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, aloha all of you, and mahalo all of you. And know that the weeks and days and hours and late nights, they're all worth it. They are really all worth it. Thank you so much. I come here today on behalf of our CEO, Kuhio Lewis, to not only aloha you folks, but also support the budget that is in front of you, to make you guys decisions upon. You know, it's been a while since the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement and Office of Hawaiian Affairs have done anything together, but we are excited about the opportunity to go forward and work together closer to uplift our lahui, to provide pathways for really making positive change in our community and amongst our people and for our aina. We know the duty you guys all have, and we know very well the decisions that you guys have in front of you and how much that takes to get to the point of making these really tough decisions. But know that you have a trusted partner in CNHA, and we are willing to roll up our sleeves and do the hard work and get through anything that we need for our people today into tomorrow in honor of our ancestors. So thank you guys so much. That's it for us. Great to see you guys. And aloha again to all the staff that's in here. Oh, I remember sitting in your seats. And again, I wish for a positive outcome for everyone, and know that the hard work is really, really worth it. Mahalo nui. Aloha.
Mahalo nui. Our next testifier, please.
Nikiala Lidstone.
Aloha nui, Chair, Vice
Aloha.
Chair, esteemed trustees of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I'm testifying in support of this budget, and particularly the Ulua'e Learning Center portion of this budget. It was so wonderful to host the trustees at our campus about a year and a half ago. Many of our families showed up to your visit because many of them have been on our wait list. And so have their families, and so have their friends, their neighbors. They've all been on the wait list. They know firsthand the need in our community for out-of-school programs. We are a lifeline for working families who depend on our programs to provide safe, engaging spaces for children to go when school is out and parents are at work or still on the road in traffic. After your visit, we went to Kapolei High School for presentations. And after my presentation, I remember Trustee Akina asked me a question. And I'm glad he asked me this question. He said, "What is your goal for this expansion? What is your end goal?" And I told him my end goal was to eliminate the wait list, that no working family should have to be on a wait list for after school care. All working families, especially our Native Hawaiian families, should have access to after school and summer care. So our families, our parents who work hard, will have peace of mind and clarity and sense of well-being. It's a part of Mauliola. This is more than an investment in a building or a pavilion. It's an investment in the health of our people, the Mauliola, the well-being of all our parents, our keiki, our ohana, the future of our lahui. We operate in Kapolei and serve families all throughout West Oahu, where the Native Hawaiian population continues to grow and grow, and so do the demands for our culturally grounded, place-based out-of-school programs. Mahalo so much for your time and your consideration for this critical investment. Mahalo nui. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. We'd like to bring out our next testifier.
Earl Kava'a.
Earl.
Hui. Few Hawaiians in this group. Let's try again. Hui. Oh, Maikai, nui ka poe hawa I makei lumi. That's it. This Sunday, three of my Haumanas who learned Ho'oponopono and Board and Stone went into the prison to work with the Waiawa prison. 1 week ago, three of them went into the prison to work specifically with the dad to prepare them for this past Sunday to do cultural work. And that cultural work is called ku'i'ai, pounding poi. Simple, huh? Something like fun. Not for kawa'a. Ku'i'ai is the way of our ancestors that sets down the foundation for relationship with Akua and the family and the Aina. The developing of a Hawaiian court should come later. But there is funding that's needed to develop a Hawaiian council first, as in the Aha'ula Council, as in the Aha Ki'ole of Molokai. The council makes the decision and then refers it up to the king, and then the king makes the decision whether to die or to live. Unless you were on Maui, sometimes the decision is made turn left or turn right. Who might that king be? Yeah, island of Maui. If he turned right, you live. If he turned left, you die. Too often, the courts are making the decisions without Hawaiian input on the life and the well-being of the families, of the families. In the Hawaiian Council, which is called the Hawaiian Court, the case would go to the court, and then the court would have the opportunity to give it to us, the funding that OHA make to call the council. And in the council, we would discuss, we would lay out the plan to service that family. Included in that plan will be Ho'oponopono, but we won't have a chance to do Ho'oponopono and get compensated for it if we do not form this council or this court. OHA plays a vital role in it. OHA plays a role. OHA has the key to open up the gate. Yeah. I have the people, Dennis Kawahi and I are willing to take on cases now to make decisions as a council to recommend to the court. We don't need money to do that. We can do it. We know how to do it. We're trained to do it. We're trained to do it. We're skilled in Ho'oponopono, and we are Westernly trained as well. So a combination of Ho'oponopono, Ike Hawaii, as well as Western training called social work, clinical social work, it says we are powerful. This process, when the court is funded, we will have more of our young people wanting to learn Ho'oponopono. It is also the job of OHA to protect Ho'oponopono as well, because there are too many quacks that are practicing Ho'oponopono. And quacks means is that after 8 hours of workshop, you can receive a certification in Ho'oponopono. It's terrible. It's going to happen. OHA can take the lead to stop that. Funding is very important. Mahalo nui loa. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo, Earl. Appreciate that. Next testifier,
Dr. Sean Kanaiaupuni.
Aloha mai kākou.
aloha.
Aloha Chair Alapa, trustees, CEO, and everybody here, community. I'm Sean Kanaiaupuni, and I am CEO of Partners in Development Foundation. Some may not know PIDF, but if you know Tutu and me, I work for them. I'm here, and thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm here on behalf of the work that we do to support youth justice and youth justice reform in our state, and to find more healing and therapeutic modalities to serve our people and to reduce incarceration, the disproportionate incarceration that has plagued our families for generations. At the Kawailua Youth and Family Wellness Center, we stand with a number of community partners, and I represent Kupa'aina Farm and also share on behalf of our strong coalition a call to you folks to do what we can to support reducing incarceration rates through cultural community courts, through pu'uhonua like the one that we have been working to establish for many years now on the windward side. Used to be the Olomana School for bad kids. Now it's a place of healing and therapeutic services, wraparound services, workforce development. And I'm workout partners with all these young boys at the back, young men who are aspiring to change their lives and find promising pathways forward under the guidance of Josiah Akau at Kinai'eha. And so on behalf of all of our people, we are here to end the kind of punitive methods that have been used to systematically oppress our people, and to find pathways that are rooted in our cultural traditions, our ike, our practices like ho'oponopono, under the guidance of people like Uncle Earl Kava'a. And we stand here before you to ask your support to continue to grow these programs and community collaborations in particular, because when our youth can come home to communities for their guidance and their supports, that's when they prosper, and that's based on research throughout the nation and world. I had a chance to go to Aotearoa this past March and April, as many others have, to study the cultural courts. I do think there's something that we can find here of promise, and would be happy to share any information about what I've learned, because I did a study tour there along with Judge Jesse Hall and some of our youth interns from the Richardson School of Law. And it was very awesome. Yeah, I think that's about it. Mainly we want to have all of our help. It takes a village to prevent our youth from being locked up and locked out of our society. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Sean. Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you guys for being there to support all the boys back there. All right, our next testimony.
Brandon Maka'awa'awa.
Aloha.
Hello.
Oh, man. Lord Chair, Lord Trustees, sorry, I was too excited online, so I had to come in person. Um, yeah, you know what Sister just said and what Auntie Rossetti said earlier. I mean, for us, we we cannot leave our kids on fight. We gotta leave them on foundation. You know, this restorative justice, this is a big part um of building a nation. We cannot just focus on the people that um I wouldn't say okay, but the people that is you know, not stuck in these situations. Because we get plenty you over here that I know, you know, because of our work with Josiah, because of our work with HYCF, because of our work with Olomana, they just need an opportunity, you know. And our court systems right now are failing them. You know, I come from Waimanalo. We had a situation with Ariel, you know, that Kiki that passed away several years ago tragically. That was a problem that could have been solved with something like family court, giving that overlapping reach, giving that aloha. Right now, our system is drowning in cases. I believe OHA has the ability to step in and to help with this. You know, this is about legacy, like having the ability to create a family court is something that will last for generations. When I look at the dollar amount of what it would cost, I mean, we already spent 100,000 for the study. What is a couple more 100,000 to see this thing through at least? You know, I mean, I'm lucky because I had kupuna that raised me, that would pull my ear every time I got out of line. But a lot of our kiki, they don't have that support right now, and so they're falling through the cracks. And I believe it's OHA's duty, bottom line, to make sure that we stop that seepage that is happening. Because if not you guys, then who will do that for us as a people? That's not the state's job right now. You know, they don't look at us right now as high priority. But this office does. And it should. You know, I think when given the opportunity to leave a lasting legacy, especially for you as trustees, I believe this is the point in time that we must make that approach. You know, I've talked with several legislators this year, about like, why are you guys not funding OHA fully? What is the problem? You know? And I get all kind of excuses and they say, oh, well, we get this, we get that, we get this. I remind them that you guys exist because of our trauma, because of what happened to our people. You exist because of the injustice that was laid upon us. And to tell us that it's not the highest priority right now to fully fund OHA because of this, because of that, is something that I cannot hear. And so I told them, because of these budget cuts that Trump has given out, and a lot of it is attacking Hawaiian programs right now. Right now is the opportune time to fully fund OHA. When you cut healthcare, when you cut education, when you cut all of these things, well, give that to OHA. When you're cutting housing, give that to OHA and then fully fund them. Right there is your excuse to do it. They're doing it against their own constitution right now. And we got to challenge them on that. But then also, when we come back in this room, the funding that comes here, we have to make sure we utilize it to the best of our abilities. Programs like this is what will change our people. We cannot just focus on the 1 year right now and the 2 year and the 3 year and the 5 year. What about the 10 and the 20? What about their foundation? Who is sticking up for that? We're all leaders at this table. Please, by all means, lead. Lead with courage, lead with vision, but lead with aloha. Establish this court, establish the pu'uhonuas. I appreciate you guys' time. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. We appreciate this, Brandon. Bringing light to our board. And we'd like to bring on our next testimony. Anyone here? Have you had a chance to sign up? Otherwise, we're going to go online to our people that are waiting to testify. Okay. What is your name? Josiah. Josiah, you're next.
Josiah Akau.
Aloha mai kākou.
Aloha.
We're just here for speak for the voices that can't speak, the forgotten. You know, whether it's a car you have at home or an airplane that you fly in, you always work on what's broken because we're only as good as our broken links.
Josiah, can you mute the mic by your mouth?
You can paint it as nice as you like. You can look fashionable. You can do all these things. But if there's broken parts, the lahui will never ever raise up to the heights that it needs to. So with that, I don't want to do too much talking, but I want to show you what identity and culture can do for a lot of our youth that were imprisoned, that didn't have those perfect parents, and some of them might have. I don't really want to show their faces and stuff. This is not on show and tell. We never do that. Everybody knows we're always the many hoonies behind the scenes and the trenches, but I would say 99.99% of you didn't know Hawaiian culture before they showed up at our doorsteps. And different ways to do Western medicine and Hawaiian medicine. This is what we call anger management. Elmo Jorge! Elmo Coco! Elmo Coco! Elmo Coco! Aqua! Homalo Kikola! Homalo Kikola! So we can raise our mana, and then now we can go back to having a balanced mana. Anger management in a Hawaiian cultural way. Thank you. That's all we have.
Ooh. Mahalo nui, Josiah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. May we have our next testifier?
Online, we have Jermaine Myers.
Go ahead, Jermaine.
Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, mahalo. I don't see anything regarding video, so I'm assuming can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You're kind of going in and out, but your voice is definitely coming through. Okay, Jermaine, we're going to get back to you. So hang tight. We're going to bring on our next testifier.
Kanoi Ahuna.
Kanoi, are you there? You have to unmute yourself, please. Okay, if you can unmute yourself, that would be great. So right now we can't hear you if you are speaking. So what we may do is just, we're going to come back to you, Kanoi, give you another shot, but we're going to have to move on to our next testifier that is waiting. May we have our next testifier, Pohai? At you.
Jen Gonzalez.
Oh. Aloha, Jen. Is it us or them? Because right now, no one's able to speak online so far. So we're having a little technical difficulty for those that are waiting online. So please be patient at this time as we figure out what is going on. Hang tight. Yeah, everybody is. Yeah. So we're all having difficulties. So they're all on the Zoom. They're being dropped out of the conversation. Oh, so they're being promoted to speak, but they are inadvertently declining themselves. So that's what's taking them off the line. So, okay, so what is it exactly?
Jermaine Myers.
We'll try again. Jermaine Myers. Get off that. Start unmute and we're finding our part. Just I don't know what's happening on their side. That is IT. Yeah, it's working. We're going to take a 5-minute recess so we can fix the online testimony. I mean, the online reception. Apparently, we're having some difficulties on both ends. So let's take a 5-minute recess. Mahalo.
So you were laid up for several months. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, fortunate that there's a functional part about it. A fracture is a fragments. Still got my, yeah, feel that. The chops, still slow.
Chair, I'm trying from my cell phone. Can you hear me?
I'm on my. Cane. Oh, I think. Yes. Yeah. Try to stand straight up. You know this Hawaiian court. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I already scheduled the meeting with Dennis Foley. And we're going to invite. We bring the people. The inner ring are gonna be only those who have cultural issues in the company. There will be no opinion allowed in the community. I think also the issue, it will only be based on the level. High level, high level. Yeah, you know. Yes, we do, yeah. Classmates. So that's gonna take place in August already, whether we have funding or not, that's gonna go through. That's amazing that after 8 hours we get certified. Oh, yeah. Yeah. 8 hours, 9 hours. Where's that coming from? Maybe. So it is amazing, it is amazing. So yes,
Oh, hi, can
Jermaine,
you
can
hear
you
me?
try and test, Jermaine?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
You-
Mahalo. So what, where are we in the meeting?
We're in a recess right now. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Am I testifying soon?
Next.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have some
Okay.
pastries here. We've got taro, strawberry, and plain cake. Don't But we're going to explain how it's going to work. So right now we have a live testimony in person. So we're going to go with her first. Then, for those that were online, whether you're going to testify or not, for those that will testify, raise your hand. However, all of you are basically live. You're unmuted, in other words. So we're not going to call upon you and just call you out when you're not here to testify online. It's only done by the raising of your hand on your computer. So we're going to go with our live testimony first, and then we will continue on with our Zoom testifiers. So at this time, let's call upon our first, our live testifier.
Kylene Nihipali Sanchez.
Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang tight, Eileen. Hang tight. See out there. Yeah, we have quorum. Right. 1, 2, 3.
Kylene Nihipali Sanchez.
Aloha.
Aloha, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Eileen Nihipali Sanchez. I actually also used to work at OHA, so it's great to be back.
Right on.
I'm a little nervous, so I just want to throw that out there. But I'm here in support of the budget, specifically our restorative justice portion and the specialty court portion. As a juvenile, as a youth, over 30 years ago, I was in the detention facility. I grew up from a very prominent family. A lot of Nihipalis. We're all related. I just don't play volleyball. But I danced hula, and hula was life for me. However, I lived in two different spaces. My mother and my stepfather in Pololo Valley, very affluent in their community, and my father was homeless, substance abuse concerns, and in and out of prison. And I was daddy's girl, so there was a lot of times where I did a lot of things and in my father's footsteps and found myself in the detention facilities and still danced hula. So no matter what happened, I always went back to hula. And I was fortunate enough at that time, at 15, 16 years old, on my way to Ko'olau and then women's correctional facility for a variety of situations that I had an altercation with a family court judge, and I was moved over to Judge Bodhi Uwale's court. And Judge Uwale, our Samoan judge who was married to a Hawaiian woman, asked me in court one day and said, "Who are you as a Hawaiian? What does it mean to be Hawaiian?" And just dancing hula didn't mean enough. And I went back and I had the staff at the detention facility to really work with me, staff that I'm still very close with today, and to really understand who I was. What did that mean? What was culture to me? And being able to, all the things that I've gone through in life, being able to hold that and guide me, and knowing that the youth that we work with today don't always have that. And because I had to go deep into who I was as a Hawaiian, I was able to find out things about myself and identity that I never knew existed in front of me. Taking that throughout my experiences, I was a former child welfare case manager at the Kapolei unit. I had to take, families and children out of their home in my own community in Waianae. I was a child-specific resource caregiver of my now 4-year-old daughter that, was born to my niece in the same situations that my sister and my father and myself had been in. And as a case manager, as a former resource caregiver, knowing that culture was always there, I was blessed to have a supervisor who allowed me, instead of the contractual spaces, and we love our child and family services, Catholic charities, but my families were able to go to Kikiokaina with Uncle Earl and do board and stone, which was way more meaningful to them than sitting on a couch. And I don't knock that. It does work for other people's, but having my domestic violence moms who couldn't go to the healthcare provider that their husband was paying for it, but was able to go to La'aulapa'au, was able to go to those other spaces. And I always, as a Hawaiian case manager, always made sure that culture came first. And as a former child-specific resource caregiver, I knew what I could do as a case manager. And so I told my social worker that our medically fragile child needed La'au first. That here's the plan. Yes, Kaiser will be there, but being able to know and be confident enough in what culture could do for me and could do for my families and can do for my own family. But not all our families have that. Not all our social workers know that. Not all of our judges are like Judge Hall that looks at that in our families, or Judge Uwali and Judge Kupao, all of those that work with our youth and our families. And right now, I have statistics if you folks need them, but when we look at our Oahu families, the numbers of child welfare, the intakes that we talk about have gone down, but our Native Hawaiian numbers have stayed the same. And right now on Oahu, 45 to 47% of the children that are Native Hawaiian in child welfare are on Oahu. So, and we look at that right after that is Hawaii Island. We have between 34 and 36%. And those numbers have not changed. They've stayed the same. But as Uncle Earl and Venus and others that have been here, when we put our cultural identity first, right? You cannot put a sick kalo in a healthy lo'i and vice versa. It's working with our youth and our families. And to me, our restorative justice and our specialty courts is what will do that for our families. And it will heal all of us together. So mahalo for your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate this. Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. All right, now we're going to try to go online for our testifiers, and we're going to begin with Jermaine Myers.
Aloha, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Mahalo. Aloha, Chair Alapa, Vice Chair Waihe'e, and honorable trustees. Regarding today's meeting, I would like to raise several concerns related to compliance with Sunshine Law and OHA's statutory responsibilities under Chapter 10. According to Act 169, which took effect this month, board packets must be made available to the public at the same time they are provided to the board members. If the packet for today's meeting was distributed to trustees last Tuesday, it should have also been made publicly available on that same day. Further, Act 169 clearly states that the board packets must be accessible to the public no later than 3 business days before the meeting and no later than 6 hours before the close of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. This means that OHA should have made the board packet available both online and at OHA's office by 10:30 a.m. on Wednesday. I personally checked and called every morning from Wednesday through Friday and found it was not available. I was only able to download the packet on Saturday after it was posted sometime between Friday morning and Saturday. Mahalo to OIP for contacting OHA to bring this violation to OHA's attention. In addition, I want to address OHA's responsibility under HRS 10-14.5B, which mandates that the board shall provide opportunities for beneficiaries in every county to participate in the preparation of each biennial and supplemental budget of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. OHA provided beneficiaries an opportunity to give feedback on the proposed biennial budget from April 29 to May 14, 2025. However, the budget being proposed or presented today is significantly and egregiously different from what was shared during that period. It includes numerous supplemental additions that were not disclosed to beneficiaries in every county. This is clearly reflected in the agenda item description, agenda item BF number 25-44, approval of the OHA biennial budget for fiscal years 26 and 27, including salary adjustments to existing personnel, the addition, modification, and deletion of positions, updates to OHA's organizational chart, and related amendments to program structures and resource allocations. This is not a minor formality or a procedural checkbox. It is a legal mandate that both budgets and supplemental budgets be presented to the beneficiaries for input. Today's testimonies from the mayor, the representative of Kauai Heiau, and Dr. Puakea Nogomeyer and Associates reflect significant allocations that were never disclosed to the beneficiaries during the public input period. These additions, which appear in the budget outlined by BOT Chair Kai Kahele in his personal version shared on May 27, 13 days after the public comment period closed, include 3.5 million for the Keaukaha Gym on Hawaii Island, Chair Kahele's home island, 1 million for Heiau and Kauai, and 500,000 for a project connected to Dr. Nogomeyer and Associates, to mention a few. These are substantial appropriations of trust funds proposed after the public input period and seemingly without a competitive procurement process. We must ask, what about the worthy and neglected infrastructure on every island, particularly on DHHL lands? What about the many heiau and sacred sites in need across our Pai'aina? What about projects and programs developed by our own communities? Beneficiaries were shown only budget categories and funding buckets, not specific projects or named organizations. Had we known individual projects could be proposed directly to trustees for funding outside of procurement or public process, we would have submitted our own worthy proposals, as others have done to Board Chair Kahele, Board Vice Chair Souza, and Kauai Trustee Ahuna. This undermines transparency, equity, and good governance. It appears trust funds are being allocated in a way that raises serious ethical and procedural concerns, perhaps even to influence trustee decisions. For these reasons, I strongly urge the board not to approve the current version of the budget as presented today, and for the Governor Attorney General Office to investigate this budget process. Kea kuapu, God bless all of you.
Mahalo. May we have our next testifier, please? Is it Kaiu? Oh, is Kaiu?
Kaiu Kimura.
Hi, Kaiu. You're next.
Aloha kakahia ka kākou e nā kahu vai a me nā pōhana o oha mahalo nui loa no ke ia halawai e hiki ai a mākou ke ho'opuka mana'o. I really want to express appreciation and mahalo for being able to testify at this board meeting. My name is Kaiu Kimura. I'm the director of Kahakaula o Ke'elikolani College of Hawaiian Language, which is at the University of Hawaii at Hilo. I'm testifying in support of the proposed budget. I also do want to acknowledge, though, all of the testimonies that have been expressed thus far. He lahui ho'okahi kākou, and we are faced with many challenges and opportunities that impact the well-being of our lahui. So I want to extend our appreciation to you, considering all of these challenging factors for the budget being put forward. I'm here to testify on behalf of our Hawaiian language and the movement that has a strong connection to OHA starting back in 1978 at the Constitutional Convention when Olelo Hawaii was made an official language of Hawaii and where OHA was established. You know, since then, we have been able as a community as a whole across our Pai'aina, we've been able to establish Hawaiian medium education pathways from preschool all the way through to PhD. And Kahakaula in particular, with a mission to reestablish Olelo Hawaii as a living, thriving language in our own homeland, we recognize that our Olelo is the cord that binds us to our identity as Hawaiians. So feel that it is very important as we move forward to continue to support the efforts to bring our Olelo back into our homes and into our communities. Kahakaula has been a critical partner in establishing this pathway. It was established by state legislature as a college in 1997 and recognized in statute is OHA and the Ahapunana Leo as key collaborators with the college in this mission for Olelo revitalization. Prior to 97, OHA also seeded funds to support the graduate program of Kahakaula, as well as the purchase of the facility we now know as Kekula o Nawahi o Kalani o Pu'u, a laboratory school of the college, who is located in Kea'au, but now also has expanded to include laboratory sites in Waimea, Wai'anae, and Kauai. There are many, many individuals, ohana, and organizations that are bringing Olelo Hawaii back into everyday life across every sector here. And we can now hear Olelo on soccer fields, in the stores, in the airport, in media, in addition to places where we would normally hear Olelo Hawaii. And we're hearing it begin to proliferate in our daily lives. The census data of 2024 shows that there has been a 48% growth in Olelo Hawaii fluency amongst Keiki 5 years and older, which represents about 27,000 individuals, which is a huge advancement from 1978, where there's estimated to just be a few hundred Native Hawaiian speakers at the time. This growth is also resonating in the demand for access to Hawaiian immersion and Hawaiian medium education. In the last 10 years alone, we see a 64% increase in demand for Hawaiian immersion, Hawaiian medium education. Across English medium or Hawaiian medium education in schools, teacher shortages are a critical issue that we all face. That said, though, fluent teachers of Olelo Hawaii is especially an area of critical need, as we can't simply fly people in to, short stop the gap of lack of teachers. We have to grow our own from our aina and from our communities to support our educational systems. So the budget request reflects, one, the hope that we can have an ongoing commitment and relationship with OHA, as noted in the statute established in 1997. And with that support, we will continue to grow teachers that we can then send out or send back into their communities across the state to help fill the growing need of Olelo Hawaii education through Olelo Hawaii, as well as continue to develop the much needed curriculum materials and support to support our educational systems. And so, as we reflect on the nearly 20 years since OHA first supported our initiatives, it's both timely and essential that we strengthen our collaboration during these challenging period where marked by federal government obstacles. We sincerely appreciate this funding opportunity and are eager to strengthen our partnership as we continue our vital work together. Mahalo nui loa he ho'omekaʻia o koa pau no keia hana nui. Me ke aloha nui mai hilo mai ke aloha nui ia o koa pau. Mahalo.
Mahalo kaʻiu. Any more testifiers online, please?
Delia Ulima.
Do we have Delia online? Nope. Okay, so nobody else raised their hand? Nope. Nope. Okay, so at this time, I believe that we are done with our testifiers today. Oh. Yeah, I guess. You gotta go over there. Okay, so I hope can hear. She can't get on. Yeah, that's why she's on calling her to get on the phone. Okay, so we'll start the time. It's Ka'iu. She can't get, I'm sorry, not Ka'iu, Julia.
Okay. You're on speaker.
Okay, we can hear, go ahead.
Aloha, Kako.
Aloha.
Aloha. I was not able to get online, but I just wanted to share a short testimony. My name is Delia Parker Lima. I'm the Executive Director of Epic Ohana. We have statewide contract to serve families, children, and youth involved in the foster care system. Here in Hawaii, I'm also the Vice Chair of the Juvenile Justice State Advisory Committee. And I just wanted to present testimony in strong support of the Cultural Honor Court, as well as the Pu'uhonua Malama Aina Restorative Justice programs. These are really, really important efforts to address the disproportionality and disparities of our children and youth involved in these systems in our ohana. As noted by my colleagues, Venus and Sean and others who have spoken before me, I'm not going to go beyond that. I'm happy to share more in person in the future if needed, or share additional data. And particularly, we have youth boards statewide made up of current and former foster youth on Maui, Hawaii, East and West Hawaii, and Oahu that can provide further testimony as needed. But I just wanted to share strong support for those particular efforts. And I encourage all of you, our esteemed trustees, our chair and our vice chair, to do so. I just wanted to share one more thing. I was also part of the Commission on Native Children, congressional effort over the last several years that went throughout the continental United States and Hawaii. We hosted a hearing with our congressional, with the Commission on Native Children 2 years ago. And the report came out last year that shared how important cultural efforts are to address disproportionality of Native children involved in the foster care and juvenile justice system. So I would like to share some of that information. But they did come to Hawaii, and OHA did provide testimony to them 2 years ago. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo. Thank you so much. And we'd like to move on to our another online testifier. I believe we have Makalika.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, aloha kako, kalamai for being online versus in person. I had to travel today, and so just please pardon me for that. I'd love to be there in the room, but I submitted written testimony on behalf of NHLC. So, substantively tried to lay out, what I think is important from NHLC's perspective on potential continued funding for the Native Hawaiian Legal Services Program for beneficiaries, which is something that OHA has supported steadfastly since as early as 1981. So really in the earliest days of OHA, filling the justice gap and providing resources so beneficiaries can have access to justice when that is absolutely necessary has been a part of OHA's legacy. So I just want to mahalo OHA for that, reinforce what's in the testimony, which hopefully all the trustees can see. And to the point of one of the earlier testifiers about, transparency and appropriations, at this juncture, we are urging OHA to continue to support the program. What a lot of beneficiaries might not appreciate is that the way that program works is it is done, who is the counsel or the vendor for that program is done through a procurement process. So we're not advocating for NHLC, but we're advocating for access to justice for beneficiaries. And, there's a separate contracting process. It's competitive. NHLC will compete for that, as it has, since the earliest days of this program. But really, whoever the vendor is, we strongly believe that, a strong legal services program for our beneficiaries is absolutely necessary for us as a lahui to realize the benefits of the hard work we all do collectively to create strong Native Hawaiian law. So the way that law works, there are a lot of instances where you will not realize the benefits as a beneficiary or as a community or as a nation unless there is civil litigation that occurs to hold government accountable to what that law requires. And so whether or not it's NHLC or someone else, the point is we need that service for our beneficiaries and for our community. So mahalo again to OHA for just making that a part of what you prioritize every year. We know that there are so many worthy ways for you to invest your monies. And we stand by to answer any questions always about what we see in terms of trends for beneficiary needs, and also, of course, to always receive feedback so far as we are OHA's vendor. Mahalo nui.
Mahalo, Malika. At this time, any more testifiers, Pohai?
We have a staff that's online that wants to testify, but not at this time, correct?
So, okay, so I believe this wraps up our testimonies for today, in person and online. And at this time, I'm going to give Naivi Waterman an opportunity to express or to share with us additional information on how the remainder of our testimonies went out from our bot staff, from our administrative staff is going to go. Go ahead.
Thank you. And again, in discussions with the Office of Information Practices this morning and in discussions with Chair Alapa, what we've decided to do is take purely a public testimony today, and any organizational discussion about the budget will take that up at the time that this hearing is reconvened. So that's my counsel as far as handling the matter today.
So on Monday, our staff, our administration and our staff will be able to have your opportunity to share your thoughts and concerns And we as a board will be concluding the opportunities for us to move forward with the budget and or changes, what it may be to amend or whatnot on Monday. So
Sure.
according to our board attorney, that is the recommendation at this time. So I'm really sorry for those who prepared, and I know you worked hard this week, and I understand, but for this purpose, we're going to have to move forward on Monday to complete that. It'll also give us some time as trustees to review that which we have before us, and that which what you heard today from testimonies from our Lahui. At this time, if there anything else that,
Chair?
Madam
Yes.
Chair, can I make a motion?
yes. So we have, sorry. Okay, so we do have a last minute testifier online from the governor's office, and her name is Tia. Correct? Tia Hartsock.
Yeah.
She's with the Health and Wellness Committee, I believe, with the governor.
Tia, you can go. Tia, you can go.
That's like intelligence. Yeah, her name is Tia. Aloha.
Aloha. Where is she?
Sorry.
Oh, she's on the phone. Okay, sorry.
Aloha, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Aloha. So sorry for the late connection. Tried to get on Zoom to connect. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. I'm testifying. So sorry. Testifying in my personal capacity. This is Tia Hartsock. So sorry for the late connection. Tried to get on Zoom.
You may want to turn off your background because it's behind Celine.
Yeah, she's got it enough.
Okay. I'm testifying in my personal capacity and wanted to share my support for establishment of a cultural court. Was involved early on in looking at the outcomes of the amazing success of Girls Court as a specialty court in the juvenile justice system, and just wanted to share the impact that had as a specialty court at the disproportionate representation of Native Hawaiian girls in the system early on in our courts, and the success of that program as it looked to decrease the amount of Native Hawaiians and females that were represented in the juvenile justice system, and how much work that led into the trauma-informed care movement in our state. So just testifying in support of the development of what those types of specialty courts does for populations like Native Hawaiians, and just appreciate the opportunity to testify and share that experience. So thank you so much for the time.
Mahalo, Tia. Thank you very much. All right, so it's just been brought to my attention that we have packets, right, of testimonies?
Copies of written testimony.
Of written testimonies that are going to be distributed for our trustees to review. So you'll have this time available during this week to go over those testimonies, and then we'll reconvene.
Madam Chair, a point of inquiry and clarification, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
I understand why this board and this committee is unable to deliberate. I think that was explained clearly.
Yeah.
But may I ask the advice why the family of Oha is not able to present our testimonies today, especially with the sacrifice that we made this weekend with the many things to do and prepared these. I just wanted to understand why
I'll have
you allowed.
our board attorney
Thank you.
explain that. Yeah.
As I indicated, organizational discussion about the budget will be taken up at the reconvene proceeding. Today, we're just going to take up purely public testimony on this matter. And that's after discussions I had with the Office of Information Practices.
Yes,
Can we get
Can I
an
make a
understanding
motion
of the
to
process?
recess
We would
until
like
a
to
date
get
to
to
be
understand
determined
the
by the committee?
process. I think it's fair for all of us to understand what the process, not just that we're meeting on Monday, but what is the process that we are going to be following?
I have a chair.
okay,
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to recess this hearing until a date to be determined by the committee?
Second.
roll call vote, please.
Trustee Ahuna,
Aye.
Trustee Akaka, this is a vote to recess.
Oh, someone's.
Oh,
Thank you. The mic is not released.
sorry.
Oh, sorry.
And also before we conclude, I would like it to be further explained the process in which the departments are to move forward in the testimony so that we all have a clear understanding on how next Monday's meeting will proceed. Mahalo.
Trustee Aquina, excuse Trustee Galutaria. Trustee Lindsay,
Aye.
Trustee Kahele.
Aye.
Trustee Souza.
Aye.
Vice Chair Wahe'e. And Chair Alapa.
Aye.
Meeting recessed.
This meeting is now in recess till Monday, June 30th.